First story on the docket. People, I thought that this was a meme. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought this was a joke. I thought this wasn't for real. I didn't think that this could possibly be legit. Before we get started, if you would hit that subscribe button and that bell to get notified. We drop new episodes of Forever News every Saturday, 12 p.m. EST. I'd greatly appreciate you hitting those buttons. Let's jump into the stories. Now, in case you don't know, there are a lot of manga authors in the manga industry that like to keep their anonymity. They don't like their identities to be exposed. They like to be basically low-key. In fact, so much so that oftentimes they use a pen name. That's not only even just for the manga industry. There's writers, there's all sorts of different creatives that they don't go by their legit name. They basically conceal their identity. For example, there's the two creators, in particular one of them of Death Note. To this day, nobody really knows their identity. They use pseudonyms. There's also Koyoharu Gotoge, author of Demon Slayer. We don't know their identity. Gege Akutami, we don't know their identity. In fact, just recently, I want to say last year, there was like a big interview where Gege wasn't on camera and we don't know who it is. Likewise with The Promised Neverland, we don't know the duo that created that. We just know their author names, their artist names, and so on and so forth, but they like to keep their anonymity for whatever reasons, whether it be that they're just shy, they don't want to be harassed, they don't want to be recognized in public. I mean, for crying out loud, Eiichiro Oda, to this point, even though early on he revealed his identity and there's pictures of him online, for the longest time now, he doesn't like his face to be shown because, again, you want to live a little bit more of a private life. Not everybody always wants to be recognized out in the street or something like that, and I totally respect it. It's not for everybody. But, yeah, this new law that is being introduced in Japan could ruin all that. Because, again, I saw a post that was floating around and I just thought, like, nah, this can't be real. Of basically a new law is threatening to expose the identities of manga authors, and I was just flabbergasted, like, whoa. But yeah, let's read what's going on here, because I'm not even gonna lie, I still to this point I'm like, can this really happen? Can they like legitimately strip the privacy away from these authors? Like, yeah, let's read. Manga artists, VTubers fear Japan's new invoice system invites loss of privacy. Japan will implement a new system for filing invoices in October 2023. This is actually being implemented. This isn't just a introduced law. This is something that's going down. But it is unpopular among members of the creative industries who use pseudonyms. Under the new proposed system, invoices can only be considered verified if individuals filing them are using their real name. Under the new proposed system, invoices can only be considered verified if individuals filing them using their real names, and the names will be accessible to the public via a national database. This poses problems to workers who wish to keep their real names private, such as manga artists and virtual YouTubers. So far, Japan's Ministry of Finance has provided scant details regarding how the system will work for pseudonym-heavy occupations. On October 8th, the Citizens Liaison Group for Tax Justice, headed by lawyer Kenji Utsunomiya, submitted questions to the Ministry of Finance. The answers, as reported by Shueisha Online on Saturday, were not promising. The Ministry of Finance is reportedly not considering countermeasures for privacy-related issues, responding that it did not believe that listing a person's real name is highly risky personal information. Dog, he must be like really old. Do you not understand how the internet works, that you could literally be live streaming and get doxxed? Like, there's so many different ways that people can get your information down to where you live, your relatives. So giving a private person's actual identity name, that's all it takes. Like, okay, this name, we know their age more or less, like boom, then they have everything. And we're gonna get to that in a second on how even more so that is very dangerous to not only the authors, not only the creators, but also the industry in general. According to a representative, the individual's real name was chosen over addresses or telephone numbers as a point of identity verification for this reason. The database will be open to commercial use. The MIF clarified that its purpose is to allow companies that deal with a large number of clients to verify invoices in batches instead of identifying the individuals one by one. I bet that's a load of hooey. The ministry currently has no plans to review or change the identification system and is proceeding with the system according to the law. Critics of the reform argue that the system prioritizes convenience for large corporations over individual privacy. That is definitely facts. They're straight up catering to big businesses so they could do a little bit less work and make more money. Although it is voluntarily to file verified invoices, freelancers are strongly incentivized to participate in the system in order to retain work. The system will also subject invoices to consumption tax, which puts a heavier burden on freelancers freelancers and sole proprietors which previously operated under a tax-exempt status. The voice actor advocacy group Voication opposes the Invoice system. A Change.org petition has over 80,000 signatures as of press time. I'll try my best to remember to put that link in the description so you could sign, because this is bad. And I'm going to tell you how right now, not only this affects your favorite authors, this affects you. This affects me, right? Because let's take a perfect example. I'm going to go back since, it's a big talk of the town right now. Bleach. Remember back when there was a certain scene in the 1,000-Year Blood War with Byakuya that pretty much Kubo was receiving death threats over and ultimately had to change the outcome in the end because of that reason. And that's not even Kubo's real name, but of course Kubo's like one of the most notable figures in manga. Like, dude had the swag of the century. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the dude, so to speak. So just imagine tomorrow, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, One Piece, you name it, but in particular like Jujutsu Kaisen, for example. If the author of Jujutsu Kaisen did something that fans deemed to be not of their liking, they're going to be bombarded with death threats. They're going to be bombarded with basically people, hey, yo, what are you doing? People could be showing up to their house because it's not that hard to find somebody's address, information, and all that stuff once you got their name. Like, you know their name, basically around their age, and boom, you will find all this person's information. So now, not only is that a possibility and an inevitability of people basically rioting whenever they don't get their way regarding different authors' works and whatnot, but on top of that, that's now going to be stored into the mind of these creators that previously operated under these pseudonames of, hey, if I do something that these people are unhappy with, something bad could happen to me. Something horrible could happen to me, my family, anything that possibly some of these people can think of could go wrong. So now maybe certain plans that authors had, or just in general in the future, when they get to certain points of certain plot twists or character deaths or you name it, they might not go that direction. They might be a little bit too afraid to take that turn because people are going to have now access to them fully, and it could be bad. It could be really horrible. And again, going back to the mangaka in particular, all they got to do is look, okay, let's just say, for example, Kohei Horikoshi. Let's just say he was hiding his identity. He doesn't, but let's just say, for example, you find Kohei Horikoshi, you go and look up, okay, this dude named Kohei Horikoshi makes, 3 million a year. Just an example. I don't know how much Kohei Horikoshi makes, but just an example. Oh, 2 and 2 together. That's the author of My Hero. Likewise with Jujutsu Kaisen, you just look up, hey, so these are the people that are making bank over there, especially considering the fact in the times we're in right now, the amount of bad things that is happening in the world for people that are really desperate, financially messed up after the pandemic and the current financial economic system we're in. It is really bad that they're doing this. They're not worried about the authors. They're not worrying about the creatives. They're not worrying about the people that bring forth this entertainment. They're worrying about the convenience of giant corporations so they could cut down on some budgets. Like, that's legitimately the only thing that is basically showcasing. There's probably more behind it. There always is extra layers to the situation, but this is horrible. This is actually going to affect a lot of stories moving forward. Granted, I'm not saying that authors are going to be tippy-toeing. Some authors, like I said, they go straight up, hey, I'm Yuki Tabata. Look at me, bro. Shout outs to Tabata. But there's authors that absolutely are out there and they're prominent, but some of them don't. Some of them alone just don't even want to be known. They just want to create really awesome works and leave it at that. Maybe they're insecure. Maybe they're shy. And all of this is now going to be basically thrusting them into the spotlight, because you better believe that there's fandoms that absolutely have issues with a lot of these creators, and they will find them. And I don't even know. It's freaking nuts. I can't even believe that they're going to be introducing something like this. And it's starting in October of 2023, so it's only 1 year away. I'm hoping that something changes in between now and then. I'm hoping that they switch things up, because as it stands right now, this could be extremely, horrendously bad for the literature, arts, everything, honestly, because if this is threatening to reveal the identities of creators, yeah, say goodbye to anonymity. And it makes me think also otherwise, like, yo, if they're doing that with that, imagine when we get to the point where inevitably the government start really cracking down on the internet and making people like, you can't have a YouTube channel called ForneverWorld. You gotta use your real name, dog. Like, And again, like I've said, there's plenty of creators that actually operate with their full identity exposed and whatnot, and kudos to them, but some authors just don't want to, and now they pretty much aren't going to have an option, at the very least, if they want to get paid. But definitely let me know what you guys think about this situation. How do you feel about these creators that are going to be forced to expose their identities? If it was me, right, and if it was my situation, I think I'd beat them to the punch. I think I would have, like, let's just say it's the head of Shueisha or somebody at Jump or something like that, right? And they know these creators that they have their identities concealed. I would probably rally up everybody that just wants to beat them to the punch and say, yo, we're gonna do a big showcasing of all of the authors whose identities have been concealed, and just put it out there. That way, hey, before they can do it, before they can think like, oh, we're gonna really get them, hey, these are the creators, can you leave them alone, please? I don't know, just spitballing ideas, but yeah, I don't like this, because at the end of the day, some people, they just don't want to be known. They want to create really awesome, cool stuff and move on with their day. They don't want to be at Walmart buying a freaking, I don't know, groceries or a DVD or something, and somebody saying, ah, yes, Gege, we love that, you know, Sukuna. Well, no, I don't think they'd say Sukuna, but we love Gojo, man. Can you sign our, can you take a picture? Like, wow, I don't know. Let me know what you think.